even the projections are showing the home prices just aren't accelerating up as much, but they're still going up. So
correct.
You know, and I know I'm biased here, but in my opinion, real estate's still probably the best investment you can make.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming in here. It's been forever.
It has been a long, long time.
So this is Majid Ghavami. He runs an amazing real estate business here in Kansas City through the metro. He and his wife. Yes. Sorry, Melody.
Hi, Melody.
Hi, Melody. And we've been friends for a long, long time, which is so exciting because we've kind of seen each other's businesses just take off and evolve. And it's just with the presence of social media, it's not like we have to get together, but we can see how each other, and honestly, I've picked off some of your ideas to be like, that's genius.
From you. You're the social media queen here in Kansas City.
Oh, we try. I have a lot of help with that. So I just know that you are boots on the ground. You and Melody are always bopping around, seeing what's new, what's trending. You're at all the events and you're hearing what's going on in what feels like a relatively big city, but it's we're kind of in our own little, tucked away tiny town. So the media can really fill us in with all this crazy stuff. Tell us, let's talk to our buyers. What's really going on in this market?
Well, first of all, I don't want them watching the media.
I know.
It's so much doom and gloom, and I get it though. That's clickbait.
Yeah.
That's how they lure you in. They want to, as humans, we're wired to go towards the negative, and so they put all this content out there for you to click and try and feel like, oh no, the world's ending or whatever. But honestly, the Kansas City market, we're kind of in a unique bubble. And you know this.
Yes.
Like, whatever happens on the West Coast, East Coast, just kind of hits us
We're
later.
sheltered.
We're very sheltered. And we're still seeing some things move. It's just a different market.
Right.
You just have to pivot a little bit.
I think it's important to let buyers know that yes, things are changing, but it's probably for their benefit, wouldn't you say?
It totally is. If I'm a buyer, I'm excited to buy right now. I know the rates are higher, but you're not competing with as many people.
Correct.
Get this, you can actually negotiate.
Oh my goodness. We can actually have inspections, appraisals.
You can have an appraisal, no appraisal waivers right now.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So yeah, as a buyer, I would want to buy in this market. Yes, I'm paying a little bit of a higher rate, but I know, and even the media, if you watch some of the media, they say the rates are going to go down. So buy now with less competition, negotiate some repairs, and then whether that's 6 months from now, a year from now, refi.
Exactly.
And you're not, because I will say this, I think when the rates do drop again, people are we're gonna be back in that frenzy.
Correct.
And then people are gonna be paying 40, 50, 60K over again. And
that's a great comment. I am going to steal that and I'm going to create a nice graphic to go along with this to show, yes, I will tag you in it to be like, hey, look, if you're paying $50,000 over at a lower interest rate versus this price with a higher interest rate, where is your monthly expenditure, right? And then with the potential of refinance later, what does that drop down to? It's just something really neat to have, like a good graphic to kind of compare the two. Maybe before I foreshadow that, let's make sure that the data looks really good, right? Like before we say this is a great graphic to have. But you talked really, really strongly about the ability to negotiate. That's so important when you are working for your clients because yes, you have experience in negotiation, but you can negotiate them actually to purchase their rates lower at this time too, if they can't afford some of that higher, some of those higher payments with the price points now. So I think what's very important for us to realize is that that's not a temporary buy down, guys. It's not a 2-1 buy down. What I'm saying is use a seller concession to go ahead and buy down your interest rate permanently on your 30-year fixed loan, right? Additionally to that, they can pay the closing costs. They can pay some of the prepaids, or you can actually get some repairs done.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a lot of sellers right now. Some of those homes aren't moving in a matter of days. And
Correct.
If they're sitting on the market for a couple weeks, a seller will likely be willing to pay some concessions versus dropping the price. Because as a seller, sometimes their ego too doesn't want to know, I had to lower the price X amount of dollars,
Again, it's that media that's saying that, it's still 50 or 30 offers in, sold 30,000 over asking.
Right.
Oh my God, that's so 6 months ago.
It is. It's amazing how much has changed in our industry within one calendar year. It's been nuts.
I think though, I don't want sellers to be deterred from selling. They are still at one of the highest appreciation points that we've had historically. Don't you think?
That's the funny thing. Sometimes I explain to these sellers, like, look, I'm not going to get you maybe 20 offers on your house, and we're not going to sell 50K over, but we're still selling way higher than what we would have even sold a year ago. So you're already ahead. You don't need to sell for another 50K over, because we have the comps to show it now.
Correct.
All the purchases that were done at the beginning of this year, so the prices have already jumped up. So the sellers are still sitting in a great position to sell. It's almost we're getting almost to a balanced market again,
which is
where
exciting.
Sellers are still getting top dollar, but buyers aren't having to pay over like we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point to make as well, because when we were in that crazy market where 30,000, 40, 50,000 over asking in some price points, there wasn't the data to support that when you did have to get an appraisal, right? So then there were these gaps that people were making up, right? So I am going to include that in the graphic to be like, okay, yeah, you paid that much plus, you had to put 20,000 towards an appraisal gap. You know, now that we do have that value with those, you can say they're inflated. They may have been slightly inflated, but it's what people are paying.
Right.
So now all the other homeowners out there are now seeing and supporting those values. How much more appreciation do they have right now that they can tap into if they did sell?
Exactly.
Your home has now truly become one of your best assets. We need to get that out there.
Easily. Yeah, especially with the uncertainty of the stock market.
Correct.
I apologize to my financial advisor.
It's true though. My gosh, I feel like every email from my advisors is, don't look at your statements. And I'm like, why? What happened today? You know, there's, with the uncertainty in the markets, the one thing that I think has been amazing with this real estate is that our growth has been steadily going up, and we aren't seeing any indication that it's going to drop.
Right.
We still have an inventory shortage.
Even the projections are showing the home prices just aren't accelerating up as much, but they're still going up. So
correct.
You know, and I know I'm biased here, but in my opinion, real estate's still probably the best investment you can make.
I would 100% agree with the accessibility to purchase. You know, there are so many still programs for low to no down payment, which depending on who you ask, and we don't always agree with that. But my point is, it's not just the place where your family is going to lay their head at night. Yes, there's an emotional piece of it, but it's still an investment. And we have to remind people of that.
That's what we preach every day. You're not just buying a home, you're making an investment. So.
All right, depending on your news source, it may be TikTok, it may be Instagram nowadays, but haven't you seen some of these influencers are encouraging rent now because of where rates are?
I don't get it.
I'm floored by it.
Yeah, and rent prices are crazy.
I think in our market, there was a statistic, I'm making it up right now because I cannot asterisk where I read it, but I did read it, that they've gone up almost 20% in the Kansas City market.
Yes, I've heard that. So, and there's so much uncertainty with that renting, because a year from now, your rent could go up again. And once you're locked into a mortgage, you're set.
You know that monthly payment.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the other thing I try and tell people about renting versus home ownership. You're locked in.
Correct.
You know, and then guess what? It's your home. You can customize it.
I know. And the other thing I always say is, when you're paying your mortgage, you're paying your mortgage. When you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage. Which one would you want to do? And I always use this term too. Yes, interest rates may be approaching 7% right now. Rent is 100% interest. Yeah. Like you literally have nothing to show for yourself after that year that you've made those rent payments.
Yeah, there's a meme going around right now with the cat, and the lady screaming like, you know, rates are 7%. The cat's like, hey, like you said, 100%.
Exactly. So and I know if you had the crystal ball, you'd be retired and on an island, and you would probably own the island if you knew what was going to happen. But there is a lot of talk about a recession. There is a lot of talk about avoid making big purchases right now because of the uncertainty of what's coming in this market. How do you feel this upcoming market shift is going to affect real estate? Do you think it's just kind of,
I think it's going to slow it down, and we've already seen that a little bit. But, I always tell buyers the right time to buy is when it's the right time for
to buy.
You.
Yes.
Like I can't tell someone, oh, you need to buy this fall, next spring. You got to sit down, and you got to sit down with your mortgage broker. You got to sit down with your realtor. You got to go over all those options. Just like if you play in the stocks or whatnot, you work with a financial advisor. They advise you. Let us advise you.
Yes, please.
And we'll sit down and come up with a game plan to determine if it's truly the best time for them or not. But if it does slow down once again, I sound like a broken record. This is a great time to buy, though.
I know.
I know. I don't foresee there to be any kind of crash. In fact, I saw some stats the other day. 5 out of the last 6 recessions, real estate's always actually gone up.
Wow, that's true.
So.
Another recession statistic. Let me interrupt really quick.
Yeah.
Every time the Phillies have won a World Series, there has been a massive recession. Did you see that?
Yes.
The 80s and then like the Great Depression one was one. It was crazy. I was like, oh shit. Well, hey, I mean, I hate to have that tied to a team, but anyways, bad segue right there. Sorry to interrupt you.
No. I love history. I love numbers. So feel free.
And history always has a tendency to repeat itself. So what Majid just said, every recession that has occurred, real estate is the one time or the one piece that has
5 out of the last 6.
Okay, 5. The one. Well, that was 8. Yeah, whatever.
That's your fault.
That was I was before my time, but yes, it was some of our faults. Those were great loan products. Just kidding.
Right.
Let's go back to history.
Okay.
I hear you have a very amazing video history in this market. We need to somehow find them in the archives.
I don't know.
But you got started in video the early 2000s?
I started in real estate in 2009.
He started when he was 10, my friends. When he was 10.
Right. But I have a difficult name, and I knew if people just saw my name,
your face.
It's gonna be hard. They don't know how to pronounce it. Does this guy even speak English or what?
We'll make sure that we spell out his name at the bottom. We'll put some lower thirds on here. So.
But I started doing a lot of video in 2010, and just to put myself out there so people could see me, people could hear me, and understand like, hey, you can understand me. I can help you with real estate.
What were you recording your video? Do you remember? What were you recording your videos with?
They were cheesy. They were just.
But was it like with an actual like camera, or how did you do it?
I don't even remember the device. They don't even make them anymore. But it was a small device. And then you could plug it directly into your laptop and upload it. I wish I could remember what it was.
It was a camera though?
It was a little camera.
Or was it like a GoPro? Like,
kind of
yeah,
like a
GoPro. That's so funny.
But yeah, and it would only hold like 20 minutes of video or something like that. And then you plug it directly into your laptop or your computer, and then you'd have to download.
Like you rip them all, and then oh my gosh.
Yeah, but you know what though? It was just content.
Yes.
I just wanted to put stuff out there. And it was just sometimes me walking through a home.
Sure.
I was doing some actual video client testimonials just so people could hear from others that like, hey, I was able to help them achieve their real estate goals. So now video has evolved so much.
I know.
In the last.
We'll have to dig those out of the content library and just see how how Majid has grown.
Right. The one positive is I was a little skinnier back then. So
oh my goodness!
The one positive of uncovering those.
I think what's important to mention though is that you've had all of these years of experience to see our economy go up and down, to see what happens in the Kansas City market, and what you've done for your clients. Imagine, my gosh, that's such a plethora of knowledge in that brain of yours that it's really, really awesome to kind of see how technology's evolved just by looking at some of these videos. So before we even stop all this, how did you get involved in real estate? Tell us that story. How did you, because KU, correct?
Yeah, so my background's construction. I grew up, my family had a commercial construction company.
Okay.
And my dad didn't even want me to go to college. He was like, as soon as I graduated, he's like, jump into the family business.
That's so awesome.
But I was like, I want to go to school.
Yes.
You
want to experience.
I want to experience, So I go to KU. I graduate with a psychology degree just because I knew I had the business to fall into. And there's nothing you can do with a psychology degree.
Maybe work in a lab.
Maybe.
Write an article.
So I jumped into the family business, though, right after graduation. Was there for 7-8 years, but I grew up in the business. I mean,
Correct.
My dad started working. I was going to work when I was 12. I was driving a forklift.
No child labor laws. This is not getting anyone in trouble. He's protected now.
My dad sold the business in 2007. I had to stay on as a consultant with the new owners.
You probably had like a clause for a number of years.
Yeah. Stayed on with them till September 2008. So I had a few months gap. I had no idea what I was going to do. December 2008, was at a Christmas party. A friend of mine's mom was a realtor, and she just said, I could see you doing real estate. Adriana, I kid you not. I was just like, that's what I'm going to do. Probably January 2nd, day after New Year's, I'm Googling, how do I get my real estate license? I go get it. I take the classes in January, and I started in February 2009.
Wow.
And I just said,
what a time to start.
You were like, you're doing what? You're into real estate?
Yes.
Like, yep. But I had a great first year, and I just figured if I could do it in that kind of a market.
I think your dad probably gave you a really good foundation, correct?
He did.
Because
he taught me so much.
I think we need to give props to your dad for that, number one. But number two, do you remember who the woman was that said,
Debbie Runke.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Is she still in the business?
I think she's kind of retired now.
We should probably send her champagne one of these days.
Send her,
yeah,
so.
just randomly. And probably tag her in this video. We'll find her. But okay, so he gave you a really good foundation to run a business, which for everyone out there, real estate, you can't just decide what you did, but you can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be very successful at this and do it. There's a tried and true and a business mindset that has to go into it.
Yeah.
Taking care of your clients, making sure that you have the accessibility to a team and support.
Even though we were in construction and we were a subcontractor to companies like J.D. Dunn, Walton, and things like that, but customer care, my dad always taught me customer care and treat your employees with care and love, and so that's what I carried into real estate. I mean, I look at my clients, I look at my vendors, I look at everyone, I just try and, treat them well, and it's the golden rule, and so I think that foundation really helped grow the business, because it's hard your first couple years in business. It's not easy, but I was just a sponge. I was trying with people like you to try and learn, and so I was very blessed. I had a lot of good people around.
Yeah, I think in looking back through your career, you're probably thinking, you're like, oh wow, yeah, I surrounded myself by the right people at the right time before you are. And everyone knows this isn't a business podcast or a business video or whatever we're recording, but the people that always get you from one point in your life aren't always the same ones that get you to the next stage in your life. So you have to embrace that and understand that that's just part of your journey and it's part of your business. So it's really fun to kind of look back and and think about the years, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at your shirt because I thought it was Red Friday, so I assumed Chiefs, right? Which would have been very appropriate. However, you're supporting the KC Current.
I am.
That's amazing. As a woman athlete, I give you props for that.
They have represented our city so well this year. They're playing in the championship game tomorrow against Portland.
That's amazing. Will you be there?
No.
Okay.
But I won't be supporting them.
Yes.
I'll be watching, but it's just so great from about 2013 till now. Our city has had with Sporting KC, the Royals, Chiefs, obviously. I got to throw in my Jayhawks because I'm a Jayhawk. We just had a lot of success, and it's just, I feel like we're the city of champions now, not the city of fountains, And
barbecue. So it's like barbecue, fountains, and champions. It is. We love our sports.
We do.
We need to figure out how to get a professional basketball team back.
I know.
Bring back the Kings.
I would love that. I actually have a Kansas City Kings t-shirt.
So does Sean. Yeah, Sean has one too. It says "Bring back the Kings," which is awesome.
Nice.
So the local sporting, to go back to the Current though, how amazing do you think that's going to be for the development of the riverfront? It's huge. I mean, new airport coming in, which is just going to be awesome.
That's another reason to invest in
Kansas City. I know.
And buy real estate.
We've got to go east. Let's go towards the stadium up there.
We have such a bright outlook in our city with the development and everything. The streetcar expansion.
Yes.
That's another huge one.
Yes. We're finally getting good public transportation.
Right. But these are all good things for our city that is only going to help increase the values.
Correct.
And just really bring the city together, literally.
There's part of me that's a little bit sad sometimes though, because it was almost our hidden gem, right? We know how awesome Kansas City is. The problem is everyone else is starting to figure out how awesome we are.
True.
And everyone's coming in, which is great because that's how cities grow and there's more money flowing. But then you never want us to lose that small town feel, which I never think we will. But it's always, it's something ingrained in us, But then you're like, oh man, this was my hidden secret. Now everyone knows.
People are learning about the charm Kansas City has.
Well, you've been a big part of growing that charm, Majid. And I thank you so much for coming in, taking time out of your busy day to just record this content. You're so knowledgeable. You bring so much just wisdom and cutting edge, to what's going on in this market. So thanks again.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, everyone out there, tune in for another market update in the next couple of weeks. And if you want to reach out to Majid, he's amazing, like we already know. Now you know. Feel free to reach through all of his contact here and his handles. Bye.
Thank you. Go KC Current.